Campaigning is over, and polls have already closed in some states, including all of Virginia and parts of Florida. Now the candidates and the nation wait to find out who will be the 45th president of the United States. The first ballots were counted shortly after midnight in tiny Dixville Notch, New Hampshire, a tradition since 1960. The final tally, you probably know it, Hillary Clinton 4, Donald Trump 2. Trump was still campaigning at that hour, crisscrossing the country on Monday.
But if we don't win, I will consider this the single greatest waste of time, energy. Wow, you need energy for this. The single greatest waste of time, energy, and money.
Hillary Clinton spent her final day on the road talking about what needs to be done after the election.
We have to heal this country. We have to bring people together, listen and respect each other.
And playing to the hometown crowd, Trump tried to rally supporters in Manchester by reading a letter he says he got from Bill Belichick and quoting a phone call he says he had with Tom Brady.
So he writes, Coach Belichick, congratulations on a tremendous campaign. You have dealt with an unbelievable, slanted and negative media and have come out beautifully. Beautiful. Tom Brady, great guy. He called today and he said, Donald, I support you, you're my friend, and I voted for you.
Several local sports reporters confirmed the Belichick letter. We checked with the Pats, and they won't say anything about the Brady phone call. Now, everyone has been saying this is an historic election, not only because of the candidates, first woman and nominee who never held elective office on the other side, but also because of the way so many aspects of the campaign unfolded. Tonight, we look back at that. Joining us are Dan Primack, formerly a senior editor at Fortune magazine, soon somewhere else, but he can't tell. Dan, nice to see you. Yeah. Shannon O'Brien, former Democratic state treasurer and candidate for governor. Good to see you, Shannon. And Joe Malone, also former state treasurer, candidate for governor, and a former Republican who's now an independent and a Trump supporter. Good to see all three of you. Let's start with, I want to do some takeaways regardless of who ends up winning this thing. Let's start with the issue of gender bias. Here's a little clip from the final debate.
Social Security, payroll, contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
Now, I'm sure you think that Trump himself was exhibiting gender bias. Forget him for the moment. He's either going to win or go away, whatever. How about the electorate? Was she a victim of gender bias in this campaign, Shannon O'Brien?
I think that there is gender bias out there. I think that it's much harder for women to, and studies have borne this out, that when women make mistakes, they wear those mistakes more deeply and for a longer period of time. When a man makes a mistake, people kind of shrug it off. I think that you've seen a lot of that during this campaign.
People think it was even worse with Hillary Clinton. Do you buy into that?
Yes, I do.
Why? What is that about?
Because I think that there is this sort of crazed opinion on Hillary Clinton. I mean, when you take a look at some of the mistakes she's made versus some of the mistakes that Donald Trump has made, yet the visceral level of hate that is directed towards her, I just think that there's something more going on.
When you said crazed opinion, were you talking about him or no? So, Joe Malone, do you buy this gender bias thing or no?
You know what? I think in politics, everybody is treated like a dog. You get negative campaigns. Everybody is whispering to reporters. You got to go after him on this, got to go. It's just a nasty, nasty business. Whether you're a guy or a woman, it's equal opportunity nastiness.
Do you want to break the tie?
I'll break the tie saying I think it's been weird in that a lot of what Hillary has been hit for has been stuff that have been done by men who are kind of related to her. Obviously, the server thing is on her, but whether it be Anthony Weiner, most recently, obviously everything related to her husband, it's been very strange. We haven't had a situation that I can remember at least where a male politician has faced so much adversity based on the women in his life and what they've done.
Good point.
Okay, let's talk about what John King from CNN on our radio show today called the Year of the Latino. Here's Representative Patrick Murphy. He's a Democrat from Florida. Here's what he has to say about the electorate down there.
Florida is always a very close election, but based on the turnout we've seen, especially amongst Latino voters here in Florida, record numbers already surpassed the 2012 turnout.
Okay, so the GOP, your former party said, but Trump's party said, we have to surpass the 29% that Mitt Romney got. We have to approach the 40% George W. Bush got. They're going to do neither, apparently. And it's all of Trump's own making. It all harkens back to that first the announcement a year and a half ago. They're rapists, et cetera, et cetera. He caused his own problems. He caused the rise of Latinos in this race, didn't he?
In the early stage of his campaign, he was reckless with his words, and as he progressed as a first-time candidate, the guy never even ran for city council before, I think he smartened up to the point where down the stretch of this campaign, he has been disciplined, he's focused on a message, and he's avoided those kind of mistakes. But yeah, he made his.
But he hasn't healed anything. Has he fixed anything with the Latino population?
I think he did. There was one time where he said, "Look, I know I offended some people. I apologize for doing that." But he's not going to. It's not his personality to say, "I'm going to dwell on all of the mistakes I made." It's almost nobody's part. I mean, Hillary doesn't do it.
Okay.
No, Hillary doesn't do it either. I mean, she has gone double down on her mistakes with regard to the server.
She said 400 times she made a mistake with you. You buy
this? Not at all.
Let me just finish it, because she would then say, "But the FBI director said I did nothing wrong," and that's not the case.
Okay.
You would always find a way.
The fact is, Donald Trump has never in this campaign apologized for anything. I think he kind of sort of apologized when the awful video from, with Billy Bush was on. But Hillary Clinton has apologized and accepted responsibility for the mistakes that she's made. But Donald Trump has doubled down. He continues to make racially insensitive comments, and it has happened. I mean, he's been disciplined, for 10 days? That just doesn't cut it in
But I want to stay on the
presidential
Latino
race.
thing for a second. A lot of Democrats are saying this is the sea change. It's going to create, there's never going to, for a lifetime, there's not going to be another Republican because of this race. But the reality is when you break down why Latinos are turning out record numbers, they're not turning out because they love Hillary Clinton. They're turning out because they can't stand Donald Trump. That's not a game changer. It may be a game changer in this election. It's not a long-term game changer,
But I think this has been a sleeping giant. The fact is we see what the population numbers are, and I've talked about this in other occasions. The organization of the Democratic Party, specifically the Clinton campaign, that they have energized these people, whether you can say that they're motivated by the fact that they feel insulted against bigoted comments that the Republican nominee has made, but the fact is they're energized and they're voting for the first time and they're coming out, and that means they will be on these rolls and they'll come back again.
So do they come back again?
I think they do, depending on if she can actually put together, assuming she wins, put together the comprehensive immigration package that she claims she wants to do.
She says she'll file in the first 100 days.
If she can do that, and granted, Latinos aren't a monolithic group, but if she can actually pull that off and have something to show in 4 years, then yeah, I think they're hers.
Okay, you weren't here just as a tiebreaker, so we'll start with you this time. Here's a guy who pretty much trained at my knee. Here he is.
Particularly during the primary campaign, that Donald Trump was given almost a free pass. There certainly were exceptions to that. But in terms of getting on television, Trump established very early, Trump equals ratings. Everybody wanted ratings. So you didn't have tough questioning of him. You didn't have tough follow-up questions of him.
You know, Dan, he got it half right in my estimation. That part was totally true. We've mentioned this almost every night. Shorenstein Center it was borne out by that. He didn't get to the second half, which is, it appears to me the press has been in makeup mode this year, essentially savaging not only surrogates for Donald Trump. They can't get a sentence out for the most part. Debating supporters at rallies and that kind of stuff. I think the press, and I know it's hard to generalize, has really disgraced itself with Trump, both last year in one direction, this year in the other direction. Am I right or no?
I think you're right. I'd say there's a third thing that rather missed was that the other primary candidates also didn't go after him. That's really was their job to do, and they didn't do it. They all wanted to be the last guy standing, and that didn't work out for Ted Cruz. Yeah, look, the press has done a poor job here, but I think also we're kind of at a point where the press as an institution has been so degraded in the eyes of so many people that people now feel they, and partially through social media, can pick their own media at this point. And by doing so, you can almost pick your own facts. And I think, therefore...
Which is one of the reasons we're such a polarized nation,
it is.
by the way.
And so I think it skews, when you say the media has done well, done badly, well, what media were you watching? And really, were you tailoring it for you?
Would you not buy, since that Birther Friday, as I'm calling it, the media has gone out of its way to advocate against his candidate? Maybe not in favor of yours, but against his candidate.
I don't think that they've gone out of their way. I think that they are now doing their job because you still see the headlines. With this Director Comey stuff, the fact is an entire weekend, they were going after Hillary Clinton. That was the first story. It wasn't, some of the other things that had come out about Donald Trump. The fact is I think they were finally doing their job. You and I have disagreed, about using the word lie by the New York Times. And I think there was a lot of thought that went into that, and there were a lot of reasons why they did do that.
But they never used it when Hillary Clinton said something that was the equivalent of a lie. Never.
I think that throughout the course of this campaign, Hillary Clinton has borne a lot more more tough questioning and difficult interactions with the press than any other candidate running this year. She's had it the whole time.
Joe Malone.
I don't know what race you've been watching, Shannon, because this has been from the time that the conventions began. It has been so one-sided, and the public thinks, I think like 82% of the public thinks that it's a favoring of Clinton by a great degree. The other thing you look at, too, is something like Donna Brazile. She pulls that nonsense. CNN hides its head in the sand. They do nothing about it.
Well, they fired her in 2 seconds.
She had already gone to become
No, they said she's not coming back.
Did they do anything in terms of we're going to do an internal investigation and we'll give you the findings as to how this happened?
Let me just weigh in here, okay?
Please do.
In 2002, when I was having my last debate in the campaign, Tim Russert
with Mitt Romney for governor.
Tim Russert met with Michael Murphy, Mitt Romney's, the day of our debate, whether or not it was to discuss the questions or to feed questions. The fact that people are outraged and up in arms about this kind of interaction between the press and the people who deal with the press, I have to laugh because it is something that happens all the time.
When I see someone like Stephanopoulos on ABC, the Sunday morning show, and this is a guy who's donated to the foundation, and first he has
Donald Trump, didn't he?
Pardon me?
That's
so
right,
did Trump. So did Donald Trump.
But he's not a member of the media.
No,
so
but I'm just saying, it doesn't prove bias.
No, it sure does. I think
so
there's
Trump
a deep
is
relation.
supporting Hillary Clinton?
So let me finish my point. And you see the two interviews, first with the representative from Hillary's campaign, and if she wins, how is she going to unite the country? Then he has the Republican chairman on there, and the tone is totally different. He's totally on his case.
Lewandowski is still traveling on the plane with Donald Trump, and he's an alleged independent commentator on CNN.
And CNN shouldn't have him on. That's
okay,
exactly
fine.
But for years, Fox has actually been using Republican talking points. I mean, the Republicans are not concerned. I mean, Fox literally is a Republican broadcast network. That happens. I mean, again, it's...
Okay, we got to come back to Massachusetts before we leave. Two things that should not have happened, in my estimation. I'm not talking about Brady and Belichick, by the way. I'm talking about two ballot questions. By the way, here's Charlie Baker supporting question 2. Here he is.
Massachusetts has many great public schools, and we took it for granted that our kids would go to great public schools.
Shannon, you were a state rep for a while there. $40 million plus on charter schools, a complex question. $10 million or more on marijuana. My estimation, this is an indictment of the legislature. The fact that these two questions even made it to the ballot rather than getting fixed, resolved in the legislature, is an indictment of Beacon Hill. Am I wrong?
I don't know if I'd use the word indictment, but I certainly think that there are big issues that need to be dealt with by the legislature. I certainly think that...
Are these among them?
Yeah, and I do believe that, especially on the marijuana law, they are absolutely going to have to make changes to it. This is a poorly written bill. It does. I mean, even people who support it know that there are problems with it, and the legislature is going to have to fix it.
You know, in the days that I used to debate Barbara Anderson, you were always attacking me, Joe Malone, as treasurer. Barbara Anderson would say, when a ballot question passes, don't touch it. The people have spoken. Virtually everybody thinks if these two questions pass, that the legislature does have to touch them. Would you endorse that? Both marijuana and charter schools?
And again, the rest in peace, Barbara Anderson, the stuff she was talking about, it was tax stuff. It was well written as a ballot question.
So you would agree, even if it's passed?
This stuff, yeah.
Okay, it's prediction time. Number one, does Brady have to be traded? No, that was a joke. Okay, quickly, tonight, what happens?
Hillary's the next president.
By
midnight. I think they'll wait. Florida's always tricky.
How about you? It's your candidate.
I think Hillary's going to win. I think it's going to be a little bit closer on the Senate. I'm not sure the Democrats are going to win.
How about you?
The pollsters are going to be proven to be wrong. Number one, on millennials, there'll be a lower turnout. Number two, on the African-American vote. And number three, Hillary won't get as many Democrats as they projected.
Well, so what's the bottom line?
So that Trump wins.
Donald Trump wins.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Dan, it's great to see you. Thanks so much. Shannon,
thank you.
Well, Joe, good to see you
nice
again.
seeing you,
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.